Hey, everybody. Can you hear us?
What's up? What's up? What's good, artist?
I don't know.
You don't know you're in the show. You're in the show. You're live. Everyone can see and hear you. What's up, party people in the house on a Saturday night?
Uh, how is everybody? Can everybody let us know? Somebody let us know that you can hear us.
Well, you're getting some hearts. I think they can hear you. I think they can hear both of us just
Okay,
fine.
good.
Thank you, Adrienne. Good to see you tonight. How you doing, girlfriend?
Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I bet Adrian's hot there where she's at. Bet it's very warm there right now. It's warm here too. It's muggy and rainy, so ugh.
Yeah. How's everybody tonight? Hello, American Night Mom. Pertinent. It's good to see you all.
Absolutely. Rock Crusher.
With the ice cream. I love ice cream too. That's my favorite thing.
You definitely do like ice cream for sure. Ice cream's always good. We've had good ice cream lately, so
Yeah,
ah
Deb was here. She's doing some dishes. She'll be back.
ah awesome. Oh, keep talking because I took my stuff off again, so I got to load it all back up in here. So give me just a
Uh,
second here.
StreamYard is not your friend. What's up, Smoky
Not
Mountain
tonight.
Robin? Smoky Mountain High. We got a good show for you guys tonight. We're
Yes, you
gonna,
do.
yeah, we're gonna continue with the silenced professionals, part 2. And tonight we're going to talk about Greg Ferenczi. And then artist has done a really nice job putting together a tribute to him, and going to talk about uh, his life, his service, his ultimately his sacrifice, um, and talk about the connections with that a little bit more with the case. And then later on in the show, we are going to dive into an old newspaper article that I found out of Indianapolis from 1887. And it's a very detailed story about the lynching of Ahmaud Green. And there's also a few places in the article where there's the county is addressed by the governor after the lynching, and we're going to go over those things tonight. So
There's
I
some
think you guys will
interesting
find it,
parallels to Richard
yeah,
Allen's case.
very interesting. It's more the mentality of it than anything. And we learned some new things today too, some new terminology, some very interesting things. So we're excited to share that with you tonight. So glad everybody's here.
Yep. So
Who else we got in here
absolutely. Hey,
tonight?
Critter Mom. Critter Mom is in here. Hey, Deb, what's going on?
Deb's back, right on.
Of course, lovely Adrian's here. Hey, Gizmo.
Caliuga.
Gallie, good to see
That's
the
right.
crew here tonight. Yep. So we're gonna. Hey, Nancy Drew. Oh, that's okay, Nancy. You haven't missed anything. You just missed StreamYard pissing me off, and
What's up,
that's all you
Gizmo?
missed.
Yeah,
Oh,
Gizmo's
yeah.
here too.
Yes, Gizmo's here. So yeah, we're going to get started with talking a little bit about Greg Ferenczi. Put a little presentation together about him, and then we're going to go into the story of Amira Green, and we're going to discuss interesting parallels and with the Richard Allen case, and we're going to talk about how a lot of the White Cat 7, I believe, and the interesting of days gone by. And then we have a few other interesting things that we'll probably talk about too.
Yeah.
What you say, New Day?
Yeah, I'm
All right.
stoked for this one. Stoked for it.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Let me get the Greg Ferenczi up here.
Anybody else that is out there listening, welcome. You're welcome to come into the chat if you're comfortable with that. If you're not, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Just glad
Hey,
everybody's
Nicole
here.
Watt. Nicole's in the house.
Sweet Southern. Whoop, whoop.
All right. So going to the first slide here. Just a little information about Greg Ferenczi. He was born Joseph Gregory Ferenczi, September 3rd, 1967 in Terre Haute. He's got one sister, Shelley, and two children, and they are twins, Nicholas and Peyton. Believe they're boy-girl twins, fraternal twins. And died on July 7th, 2021 at Union Hospital. It said in the obituary.
So he was hometown boy to Terre Haute his whole life.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know that about him until I started putting this together, that he had actually been born and raised in Terre Haute. So yeah. He was a detective with Terre Haute PD and an FBI agent. He served 30 years and 1 month with Terre Haute Police Department. That's a long time. He was also the editor of SWAT Digest, which I assume is a publication for SWAT team members, I would assume.
Yeah.
He's also the chief instructor for the International Tactical Officer Training Association. So the guy knew how to use a firearm. He's also senior tactical officer for the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force.
Yeah.
He served on the Vigo County Drug Task Force. Vigo County is where Terre Haute is located.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a consultant at Engel Ballistic Research.
Yeah, he's a tactical and a ballistics guy. Along with everything
I wonder what he
else.
would have thought about. I wonder what he would have thought about that totally shoddy tool mart comparison. I'd be interested to know. I bet Greg could have taught her a few things. So, 2010, he was assigned to the FBI Safe Streets Task Force. I believe that was kind of what I gather from that. It was a like a kind of an anti-gang initiative, I think, is what the Safe Streets Task Force was about. He was reassigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I think somewhere around, I can't remember exactly. He was on the other one for a while, and then he was reassigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force, sorry. He was the 4th line of duty death in Indiana in 2021. 14th line of duty death in the Terre Haute Police Department in their history. And the 24th line of duty death originating in Vigo County. Isn't that weird? They all end in 4s. It's crazy. It's kind of weird. I just noticed that.
Huh. You know what I noticed?
What's that?
The guy is a leader, but he is also capable of working well with others. Task force, joint task force.
Yeah. Well, everything I read about Greg, he was their go-to guy. I mean, he was a 30-year veteran. He was the guy that was always willing to lend a hand, and he was a leader. He was described as a natural-born leader. I think that's, like you said, pretty obvious from his creds here. He was posthumously inducted into the National Law Enforcement Officer Hall of Fame in Dallas, Texas, and that was just this past April, guys, in April of 2026, which I thought was pretty cool. Oh, and there I put it again. So yeah, that meant a lot to me. I thought that was cool.
That is cool. He deserves that. He deserves way more than that.
But yeah, he does deserve not to be gunned down by a psycho, but you know. Project Never Broken was founded in his honor by his sister Shelley Klingerman. It's an organization, guys, that provides support for police officers, I think, that have been injured or have experience or have trouble with probably like PTSD and stuff like that.
Artist, I thought this was really cool. This foundation she started, because it's kind of like a wounded warrior, but it's for law enforcement.
Yeah. Right. Yes. And they do things like they'll do things like healing cruises. People can sponsor officers to go on healing cruises and things like that. And I don't know. That's how I take it too. It's kind of like a wounded warrior for law enforcement, which I think is pretty awesome. There's the information for the website if you guys want to go check it out. There's a nice tribute to Greg on there, and lots of interesting information about the Project Never Broken. Again, started by his sister Shelley, which I thought was an awesome tribute. Sorry, guys, I get a little emotional when I talk about these collateral damage. I mean, I get emotional about Abby and Libby too. All these other people, it's the collateral damage stuff really bothers me. So sorry if I get a little.
Please don't apologize for being human and having a heart. Don't ever apologize.
I do have one.
I know you
do have one.
That's why
I don't always show it, but I have one. Thank you, New Day. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
Greg's children, Nicholas and Peyton, were presented with the FBI Memorial Star in honor of Greg's service. Of it there, which I thought was, pretty special. And then this is just pretty much an account of what happened. This was from the Indiana Law Enforcement Memorial. It's just in a nutshell kind of what happened there. We all pretty much know the story. Greg Ferenczi was, and at the time it says shot by a subject because It hadn't named. I don't know when this was done, but we all know who the shooter was now. It was Meehan, Shane Meehan. And we're not going to talk about that piece of crap because Greg deserves the attention right now. So, we all know who that piece of crap was. So
yeah, they don't even name him here, but they knew who he was because they state the 44-year-old suspect was located after he drove himself to the Terre Haute.
I guess they hospital. Did. So yeah. Well, I'm just gonna leave his name out of it.
Yep.
So
thank you.
So Greg was in the FBI office there in Terre Haute, and the piece of crap parked at the entrance, exited his pickup truck, and threw a Molotov cocktail over the gate toward the building, which got the guys inside. It got their attention, of course. So Ferenczi went outside to confront him, and the suspect raised his firearm and shot him multiple times, actually. He was able to return fire, and then another FBI agent came out of the building and engaged in a gun battle with the piece of crap that shot Ferenczi. So despite being shot twice, the piece of crap was able to flee in his vehicle. And I believe he went, it says the 44-year-old suspect was located after he drove himself to the Terre Haute Regional Hospital. Ferenczi had already been taken to, or he was taken eventually to Union Hospital, where he later died. So the suspect fled in his vehicle, took himself to Terre Haute Regional Hospital for treatment, and was then taken into custody and hospitalized, of course, and then subsequently arrested after he was released from medical care. We all know that he was charged in federal district court. Of course, they took the death penalty off the table because they said he wasn't, mentally competent or something like that?
He wasn't competent, but he is competent now. They've deemed him competent.
Yes, he is.
His trial is scheduled for April of 2027, I believe.
Right. So, I'm very interested to see what happens with that. Usually not good things when you target a federal law enforcement officer. So, of course, we all know that the suspect was a former employee of the worked there for 12 years, 2005 to 2017. So,
anyway.
Yeah. So but that kind of means something to me for what we're going to talk about here in a little bit with regard to these different hate groups that have spawned or currently are found in the state of Indiana. So yeah, and we'll talk a bit more about that later too. And then I had a nice video to show you guys, but this thing was being a jerk, so I wasn't able to. This was just a news coverage, but it the video part out. But it was just a recap the day after Ferenczi was killed.
He's a good-looking dude.
Ooh, you're cutting in and out on me.
Oh, I said I thought he was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously a very dedicated law enforcement officer. You don't spend 30 years in the same department in the town you grew up if you don't care about it. So, like I said, he was described as a natural born leader. Apparently, that is the case. I mean, but the guy also seemed like he just enjoyed being a part of a team and leading a team. And he took part in a lot of different parts of that job, a lot of training responsibilities and things like that. So I just think he was one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad. Let me put a couple of these comments up here. Nancy Drew. There are a lot of rumors and or misinformation about Ferency and Meehan's. I'd like to know the right info. I'm not exactly sure which misinformation. I think I know one thing you're talking about, and yeah, I've heard that in some Delphi docs groups and things like that, but I don't know about all that. I wonder what the motivation is there. It seems to be certain people of a certain ilk saying those things, and regardless of what the reason is, I believe that it was because of his investigation into the Delphi case and into and with regard to the work that he did with Todd Click and Kevin Murphy that got him executed basically by a psycho.
The Odin report.
Yeah, so let's talk about the timing of that.
Yeah, timing is everything in this case.
Because this incident are not very. Let's see. The report was filed. When was that report filed? Do you remember, New Day, offhand?
The Odin report?
Yeah, so I know that he was killed not very long after having a conversation about this, if I recall right, with Unified Command. Am I correct?
I don't know if Ferency spoke to them or not. I'm not privy to any of that. I know they wrote the report. I think Click had the most, contact with anyone. And I'm sure Murphy did too, as he was a state trooper. But
I think I kind of read through the portion of Click's I don't know what was it, testimony or whatever, like pretrial phase or whatever, about I think it was, can't remember when he did that. Oh, I'm sorry guys, my mind's a little jumbled. But anyway, what Click had said, it was that he was contacted by Murphy and Ferency wanting him to they were coming to talk to Elvis Fields, and they wanted him to observe the conversation and let them know kind of what he thought about what was being said. And
I think they kind of pulled Click into it because they wanted to know if there was a connection. With Johnny
they
Messer,
tasked him with that. Mm-hmm.
And he found those connections and came into it that way with them.
Yeah. So that's kind of how Click said that he got involved, and of course Click did find connections between Johnny Messer and Holder and Westfall and Rod Abrams, of course, was a known. Click already knew him to be as he described him, as a protector of Elvis Fields, and that Fields had lived with Messer's uncle, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was a brother. Wasn't it Billy Messer? Johnny
thought it
Messer's
was it, or
brother.
maybe it was his brother. It was a relation to Messer. Yeah, maybe it was his brother.
The
But they were already, yeah.
Everybody's family.
But they were, Messer was already well known to Rushville PD. So, and of course, as we all know, anything that they relayed to Unified Command was disregarded, including when they told Click to come up and talk to them because they would ease his mind about why they arrested Richard Allen. And of course, none of that happened.
Right.
Because we know how that goes. So,
what's up, Trial Junkie? Good to see you.
So according to Todd Click,
hey, hang on.
Hey, Duck and Felonies. Yeah.
So yeah, can you throw this comment up there? Because I didn't know this, and I don't know about it, but for anybody that needs this information, Duck and Felonies says that Wounded Warriors Project seems to profit off the suffering of veterans, but that Fisher House, Simplify, and America's Fund and Homes for Our Troops are better. So
okay, yeah, let me go.
I don't know a whole lot about those nonprofits. I just kind of likened it to that one, the foundation that Greg's sister set up for law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know what Wounded Warriors does. I know also too, there's been a lot of stuff about bigger 501c3s out there that
I don't know.
Don't necessarily do what they say that they do, but yeah.
I just like Lieutenant Dan. That's all.
I do know that Project Never Broken, though. Again, that's started by Ferency's sister, so I believe that one's pretty legit and was started for the right reason. So, but yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, man, isn't that sad? You got to be careful who you give your money to. You think you're helping.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sad. Don't even get me started on Goodwill.
Oh yeah, are those recordings you're talking about, Trial Junkie? The ones that Duck and Felonies posted, are those recordings the audio from the bridge guy? The differences in them? Yeah. I found that very interesting too. Nice job. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you, Duck and Felonies, and thanks, Trial Junkie.
What is
awesome. Duck and Felonies made a post and compared audio on the Guys Down the Hill, and what it sounded like when it was first released versus what it sounds like off the 43-second video that was released last year, and played each one like back and forth and kind of did it on different levels too, with a real clean version of it.
Yeah, wow, that'd be
like 3 different. Yeah, you'll have to go listen to it later. It's really 3
different things.
Yeah, well, just the comparison between, how everything in this case has evolved. We don't have now what we had originally in the beginning. That we want to erase that, sweep all of that under the rug. So there is a vast difference.
Of course we do.
And I encourage you sometime to go listen to that artist. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I will definitely go listen to that, because I mean, I know when that 43-second video came out, I ripped the audio out and split it up on I think it was 4 different tracks, separated everything, denoised it. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting what you hear in there. Oh, great. Adrian posted that link. Yeah, I will go check that out. Everybody go check out Duck and Felonies YouTube. I can't wait to hear that. So I'm sure it's changed. Lots of things have changed. Evidence has seemed to devolve as time has gone on, in my opinion.
Is it a
So
raveling or is it an unraveling? Because they both mean the same thing
it's a
and the
twisted pile.
opposite of each
It's a
other.
twisted pile of poo. That's what I gotta say. Definitely a twisted pile of crap. So, well, anyway, when they asked Click about when his involvement ended with the Delphi case, it was after the death of Greg Ferenczi.
Yeah.
That was pretty much when it ended. When, of course, when Richard Allen was arrested, Click felt like they had the wrong guy and tried to communicate that. And that's when they called him in to try to ease his mind, which they did not do. They didn't even discuss that part. I don't believe with him. They didn't ask for any of the materials that, any of the information that Click and Ferenczi and Murphy had put together. And then he wound up hiring a lawyer, and we all know what happened after that. Then the ruining of his reputation and career began, starting with, we talk a lot about the retrofitting type stuff or the precursor events that happen, which definitely happened with Todd Click. So, because we had McClellan going after his employment records, trying to prove that he was a liar. And apparently that didn't work so well. So then we just had to go and make a bunch of shit up, I think, and get him in trouble. So you know how it goes there in Delphi. They'll get you one way or another, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Evil.
we're also going to talk tonight about kind of the grandfather of hate groups in the state of Indiana. We all know about the history with the KKK in Indiana. And of course, we know a lot more than most of us would ever want to know about Vinlanders and Odinists and all this other stuff, and how that has run rampant in the prison system. But, and even though I think we both pretty much knew the story of Amira Green, right? New Day.
Yeah, I've heard it several times.
Today, when we read it again, it was like, oh my gosh, there's more to this story. And actually this article here is cool because this is from back in the day. So this isn't some watered down version of the story. I've read the Carroll County Comets version of the story, and it leaves a lot of the others. This stuff we're going to talk about tonight, it's not in there. It's not mentioned. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to pop up the, let me put this back over here. I'm going to pop the microfiche. Oh, wait, wrong one. Hold on. This is the one. So this. Don't worry, you don't have to read this because New Day's going to go through it. She's got a copy that's more legible.
Just a little bit more legible. I'll do my best, guys.
This is, again, the kind of microfiche version of the original newspaper article. And where did this article come from again, New Day?
From the Indianapolis Journal.
Okay. What's the date on that?
Written on Sunday, October 23rd, 1887.
Okay, so this is the original, the version that we could see, but the original, and I believe it's housed in the state library.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, without further ado, let's go into the story of Amira Green.
All right. The lynching. You say Amir. I always heard it as Amr. I don't know. I'm gonna say Amr because that's
maybe it's Amr. I don't know.
Amr Green.
Amir, Amr. It's probably Amr.
All right. Let's see here. This says it's concluding chapter of the tragic story told in yesterday's journal. Amr Green carried to Walnut Grove and hanged. He declares that Luella Mobbitt is alive and residing in Fort Worth. This is a special to the Indianapolis Journal out of Delphi, Indiana, October 22nd. This morning, Amr Green's body was hanging in a small grove 9 miles southeast of this city. The abductor and murderer of Luella Mobbitt was lynched last night by a band of 250 determined men. Yesterday morning, a number of men from the eastern part of Carroll and Cass counties in the vicinity of Young America came to Delphi, and all day they were at the streets, but no one suspected the motive of their visit. About 10 o'clock last night, however, they were joined by about 175 others from the same locality, and then their business became known. They had come for Amr Green, and they got him. They quietly surrounded the jail, and after placing a line in the middle of the street, about 20 of the bravest and most determined started for the jail. They made no demand on the sheriff before beginning operations, but sent a sledgehammer crashing through the wooden door, leading into the residence part of the building on the east side. Rushing in with revolvers in their hands and handkerchiefs over their faces, they demanded the keys to the doors leading to Amr Green's cell. This was refused by the sheriff, and Mrs. Van Gundy, the sheriff's wife, who was next approached, and she was unable to comply with the demand, even if she had been so inclined. But the mob did not stand on ceremony. A man with a sledgehammer began his work, and one lock after another succumbed to his powerful blows. When the sledge was not sufficient, he aided it with a cold chisel. The last lock, opened by an automatic arrangement, also unlocked the door of Amr's cell, so that when the mob reached the cell, they had only to swing open the door and take their man. Green, who was always, ever since his capture, showed the most defiant and nonchalant milieu, had begun to weep and cry as soon as he found the mob was coming. When they reached his cell, they found him in tears. In his desperation, he had wrenched loose a section of the water pipe in his cell with which to defend himself. But 4 men made a simultaneous rush for him, grappling his hands and throat at the same time. He was bound and hurried out into a double-seated, covered carriage, held in waiting, and the whip was then applied to the horses. The carriage containing the prisoner went at a breakneck speed until it crossed the Deer Creek Bridge and reached the top of the hill. When it was joined by about 60 other carriages, buggies, wagons, and horseback riders, and the procession moved toward Walnut Grove, 8.5 miles southeast. A halt was called at Walnut Grove, where 2 large fires had been built and which illuminated the woods. Those who gathered around the blazing fires in Walnut Grove will never forget the hasty examination of the doomed man, his words, his actions, his cool and calm demeanor. He towered above his captors, a helpless victim. In a few minutes after the spot was reached, after he had been placed near the fire, and those in charge had warmed their benumbed hands, Green lifted his head and calmly said, "I hope you are not going to burn me. You have come out here to murder me and are going to do it, but do it like civilized men. Give him a stake, burn him, torture a confession out of him, make him talk. and a score of other suggestions came from the crowd. In response to all these threatening exclamations, the captive said not a word, but calmly looked over the crowd. In a few moments, the leader of the crowd called for silence, and stepping forward, facing Green, said, Amr, you have not long to live. You are now in the hands of men who are determined. If you have anything to say, now's the time to say it. You are charged with murdering Luella Mobbitt. If you can produce her, you can live. If not, you must die. Have you any explanation to make? Is Mr. Mobbitt here? Asked Green. Yes, came from a score of throats. Let him step forward, said the leader of the mob. The old gray-haired father of the missing girl moved to the front, and in the glare of the flickering light stood face to face with Amr Green. Well, Amr, you must now tell the truth. You must tell me what you did with my dear girl. You took her away from home and have kept her away. When I saw you in Logansport jail and asked you where Luella was, you put me off and said you would tell me when the proper time came, and that you would explain all. I have waited a long time. The proper time has come. Is Luella alive? Yes, she is alive. Where is she? She is in Fort Worth, Texas. Who is she with? She is with Samuel Payne, an old friend of mine, and has been there ever since she left home. Why have you not had her brought here before trial? If I had consulted my own head instead of my attorney's, this would all have been settled long ago. I would have been a free man. You have known that your life was in danger. You have known that a mob was likely to take you at any time. Why did you let your attorney influence you? Why did you not produce the girl? Probably I was stubborn. I held out because of the way you and your friends treated my mother. This made me mad. And then my attorneys, they told me that you charged me with murdering the girl and advised me to let you prove it. If I had consulted my own head instead of my attorneys, I would not be here. It's a lie. Choke the truth out of him, came from the crowd. I'd have explained this all at Fort Worth if Buck Stanley would have permitted me. I sent for my attorney then, but Stanley hustled me away before he came to see me. I had no chance, or I'd have produced her there. Buck Stanley will tell you that. I sent for an attorney. The way I was treated made me mad, and this, with the advice of my attorneys, made me hold out. I would have produced Luella Mobbitt on the day of my trial. You have put it off too long. Hang him. Put him to the stake. Make him tell the truth, came from the crowd. There was a short consultation among the leaders when one of them said, Shall we hang him or burn him? Hang him! Burn him! Was the response from the Senate appeared in favor of the rope. All who were in favor of the rope, say aye. There was a loud chorus of aye. And quicker than it takes to tell it, a hemp rope was produced and a hangman's noose made and placed about the doomed man's neck. His arms were closely pinioned to his body. As this was completed, the victim said, After this is all over, Mr. Mobbitt, after I am, or do not forget me. Do not worry. He will not forget you, shouted someone in the crowd, and Green said no more. The order was then given to move to a small butternut tree a few feet away. A limb extended out and afforded a natural scaffold. Who will climb the tree? Was asked by a dozen members of the mob. A young man grabbed the end of the rope and, with the agility of a squirrel, pulled himself up to the limb selected which was about 20 feet from the ground. Quickly, the rope was thrown over the limb, and the end grasped by a score of hands. A wagon! A wagon was called. A three-seated red wagon, drawn by a bay and a dun horse. It was drawn under the tree, and the fated man assisted in. He stood up on the seat, as erect as a statue, his hands pinioned, and the rope so tightly drawn that he was almost choked. The crowd was as orderly as a sheriff's posse could have been had Armour Green been going to his death in accordance with the mandate of the law. No one ever witnessed that sight. Whoever witnessed that sight can efface it from their memory. Motionless, helpless in the hands of his captors, half stood, half hung, Armour Green, who had been condemned to die. "Give him a chance to speak," came from the crowd, and the rope was slacked. "Are you an innocent man?" asked the Journal reporter, who had stood a mute spectator of the mob's dread work. "I am an innocent man." "What is your last request?" continued the newspaper man. "That you inform my mother send her my body and tell her I desire to be buried beside my sister in Ohio, at Hebron." "Yes, and—" Here the horses gave a lurch forward, and Armour Green was suspended between earth and sky. When the body fell, the rope seemed to stretch 4 feet, and it looked as if the victim would reach the ground. The rope was strong, however, and there was at least 3 feet between the soles of his boots and the ground. He never moved a muscle after he fell. It was thought his neck was broken. As his body swung in the space, all was quiet, and in a few moments, the original crowd quietly dispersed. About 9 o'clock this morning, the body, after being viewed by thousands of people, was cut down and taken to Flora, where an inquest was now being held. The excitement over the lynching is intense, but public opinion justifies it. In accordance with the dead man's desire, his remains will be shipped to his mother in Ohio. One Sunday evening, in the early part of August 1886, Miss Luella Mobbitt, a highly respected young lady of Carroll County, astonished her parents and friends by not returning from a walk with a young man named Armour C. Green. A few days after pieces of the young lady's clothing, stained with blood, were found scattered along the bank of a river nearby. A thorough search for the missing girl was made, but no other traces of her could be found. It was said that Miss Mobbitt was, when last seen, in the company of Armour Green and a strange lady. Excited citizens went to the house of the lady who had been quite intimate with Green, and whom they suspected to be the lady referred to, and they accused her of being cognizant of the young girl's whereabouts. But she easily convinced them to her innocence by proving that she was in the company of a lady friend on the evening of Miss Mobbitt's disappearance. The belief then began to be entertained that Miss Mobbitt had eloped, and that the next time she made her appearance, it would be as Mr. Green's wife. On the evening of February 5th, 1887, however, this belief was smothered by the discovery of a body of a young woman in the driftwood in the Wabash River near Lafayette, which so tallied with the description of the missing Carroll County girl that the coroner telegraphed to Mr. Mobbitt to come to Lafayette to identify the remains. The body, however, was so badly mutilated that it was only by a few peculiar marks on the teeth that Mr. Mobbitt was convinced that his lost girl had been found. After hearing a great deal of testimony, the coroner decided on the 12th of February that Miss Mobbit had been abducted and murdered by Elmer Green, the last person that was seen with her. There are many persons, however, who are not yet convinced that the body found near Lafayette was that of Miss Mobbit. On the clothing of the dead woman were found several pieces of overalls. At the examination, witnesses swore to having seen Elmer wearing overalls of the same material as the pieces on the day of his disappearance. Green had not been seen or heard of from since Miss Mobbit disappeared. Wow. So there's that. Let's see here. I think I've got a little more for you guys. Everybody doing
So here,
okay? I can't see the chat or anything, so because I've got this pulled
yep,
up on my phone and
yeah,
I'm reading
everybody's
it.
just chatting. I'm reading a lot of what they're saying. So hang on just a minute. So
Yeah,
do you guys see any recurring themes here in this story? Because I kind of do.
let me finish this part up because this is after they take his body
Sure.
to Flora and they're having the so it goes on to say that the sheriff's office was crowded by persons anxious to hear the particulars. Did he make a confession? Where is Luella? Um, it was heard from every lip at Flora, Indiana, where the lynching had occurred. The excitement was intense. People from within a radius of 20 miles were seen hurrying to the spot where Green met his fate. So eager were they to have a souvenir of this horrible tragedy that they stripped the tree of all its branches, and all that now remains is the branch from which the rope was suspended. Mr. George C. Tabor of the firm of Dykeman, Wilson, and Tabor was interviewed this evening and says that Green's statement about his lawyer's advice and advising him not to produce Miss Mobbit is utterly false. Messrs. Dykeman and McConnell visited Green while he was confined at Michigan City Prison and insisted, as his attorneys, on knowing all the facts in the case, but not a word as to the whereabouts of Luella Mobbit could they get from him. And then this goes on to talk about, I guess Amr had a brother named Bill Green, and he was in jail in Peru, Indiana, when they lynched his brother Amr. And so this article comes special to the Indianapolis Journal from Peru, Indiana on October 22nd of 1887. And it says Bill Green, who was lying in jail in this city on a charge of murder, is badly frightened at the fate of his brother Amr, who was lynched last night near Delphi, and has fears that a like portion will be his. There are rumors, but without any foundation in fact, and probably growing out of the excitement occasioned by last night's affair. Prisoners in jail with him say that he is in abject terror, and that after he heard about his brother Amr's fate, he reiterated the statement that Miss Mobbit was alive and added that she is now in Texas and would have been produced at the trial. And then the last thing I want to read here is, if you guys are still with me, and then we can discuss this, because I think this is going to take us right into um, the next thing that artist has for us, which is to talk about how some of these brotherhoods of hate mongers first originated in the state of Indiana. So at the time this happened, the governor of the great state of Indiana was Governor Gray. And this article is continued in this same paper. And it says, Governor Gray speaks plainly. Governor Gray is quite indignant over the mobbing of Green. He said to a journal reporter yesterday that, on the face of the telegrams, it looked like the sheriff had been inexcusably wrong in the matter. Why, said he, when they had this man at Logansport and there appeared danger of lynching, I telegraphed Sheriff Stanley to take special precautions for his safekeeping. And he did so. Judge Winfield himself took a gun and stood guard over the jail. The man was then sent to the northern prison for safety. And now, when they bring him to the county where the offense is supposed to have been committed, the most dangerous locality of all, there appears to have been no measure of precaution taken at all. Isn't there some way in which this lynching and white cap business can be stopped? It is a difficult matter. I am in correspondence with prosecuting attorneys and hope to make some cases against the white caps, but trouble will come at the trials. It is doubtful whether a jury can be got to convict them. I presume no jury would be obtained that would convict the parties engaged in this affair last night. The only remedy I see is to amend the Constitution so as to allow the state to take a change of venue when it is made to appear to the judge that the offense is a part of organized lawlessness in which a large number of persons are implicated and where public sentiment is with the offenders. Now, let me switch pages here. The sentiment is with the offenders or dare not be shown against them, as it is now, a defendant must be tried where the offense is committed unless he see fit to take a change of venue. Yesterday afternoon, the governor forwarded the following telegram. Indianapolis, October 22nd, 1887. Edward Gray, Sheriff, Miami County, Peru. Do not fail to take every precautionary measure to protect the prisoner, William Green, from mob violence. Isaac P. Gray. He also wrote the following to Sheriff Van Gundy, State of Indiana, Executive Department, Indianapolis, October 22nd, 1887. N.W. Van Gundy, Esquire, Sheriff, Carroll County, Delphi, Indiana. Dear Sir, I observed by the press of this morning that a mob broke open the jail at Delphi last night and took therefrom Amar Green, a prisoner confined therein to answer the charge of having murdered one Luella Mobbitt. I am amazed to learn that you had taken no precautionary measures whatever to protect the prisoner from mob violence. The judge of the court and yourself were both aware of the threatened attempt to lynch the prisoner at Logansport while incarcerated there, and that he was removed to the state prison for protection. Yet, in the face of all that information, you brought the prisoner from the state prison where you knew he had been confined for safekeeping to the jail in Delphi and took no steps whatsoever to protect him. I do not understand how you could have failed under the circumstances to take measures to prevent the reenactment of mob violence, which is rapidly bringing the state of Indiana into public disgrace. The prisoner was in the custody of the law and in your custody as a sworn officer of the law, and you were under official obligation to give the prisoner the full protection of the law. And the people of Indiana have a right to expect that a sworn officer of the law in possession of the information that you were in possession of and surrounded by the circumstances that surrounded, yet you would feel that it was his duty to see that the law was duly executed and not trampled underfoot by mob violence. I sincerely hope that the court and all officers of the law and the good law-abiding people of Carroll County will use their utmost endeavors to bring the parties guilty of the lynching to justice. Signed, Isaac P. Gray. And there you have it. Seems to continue to this day.
Only it's kind of in reverse. Because, so do you guys see some of the parallels here? So apparently they have put a prisoner in the state prison for safekeeping before. It sounds like in Amber Green's case, that was for a very good reason.
Well, yeah, and I know they've done that. That happens. It's not unheard of at all. But to keep them in solitary and to torture him and drug him, yeah.
You know, so basically this lynch mob came and took him from the state prison, took him out into Walnut Grove, or when he went back to the jail in, where was it? It was in Carroll County, right? Was it in Delphi?
Yeah, he was arrested, and initially he was being held in Logansport, and there was a uprising of a mob mentality, and at that point the governor reached out to the sheriff there, and there was a safekeeping order, and then he was sent and held in a state prison up in northern Indiana, I believe, Michigan City, I think, and was to be held there until trial. And so I don't know if his trial was actually coming up, or if Carroll County just decided to go get him and move him back. I'm assuming his trial was coming up, which is why they moved him back, and then they took no precautionary measures, is how I understand it.
So,
but that terminology that we came across today, the white caps.
Yes, the white caps,
which
is what we're going to talk
made me
about.
think of the white hoods that are worn by Ku Klux Klan members.
Right.
But it's a little bit more than.
But as we're going to see here, yeah. So there's actually, here's some information about white capping, and I'm gonna have to blow up my screen so I can see this. But so white capping apparently is the OG hate group in the state of Indiana. Here's
the white caps. Yeah.
The white caps, or what they call white capping. So white capping was a violent vigilante movement of farmers in the United States during the late 19th and 20th centuries. It was originally a ritualized form of extra-legal actions to enforce community standards, appropriate behavior, and traditional rights. However, as it spread through the process, or poorest areas of the rural South after the Civil War, white members operated from economically driven and anti-Black biases. States passed laws against it, but white capping continued into the early 20th century. After it was institutionalized in formal law, its legal definition became more general than the specific movement itself. And it quotes it as saying, white capping is the crime of threatening a person with violence. Ordinarily, members of the minority groups are the victims of white capping. White capping was associated historically with such insurgent groups, Nighters, Old Knobbers, and the Ku Klux Klan. They were known for committing extra-legal acts of violence targeting select groups carried out by vigilantes under the cover of night or disguise. So that's eventually what white capping became familiarized with. But white capping movement started in Indiana around 1837. White males began forming secret societies in order to attempt to deliver what they considered justice on the American frontier, independent from the state.
Vigilantes.
So you got a vigilante militia group, basically, doing what they feel, whatever form of justice they feel fit, with disregard to the law, basically. So a lynch mob.
Yeah.
These groups became known as the White Caps. The first White Cap operations generally aimed at those who went against a community's values. So in the beginning, it was just like you do something that the community doesn't agree with, that's not up to community standards. Then here come the White Caps.
Yeah.
Those types of people that were targeted included men who neglected or abused their family, people who showed excessive laziness. So if you're just lounging on your couch, apparently on a Saturday, or your, parlor divan, apparently the White Caps might show up because you're being lazy, I guess. And women who had children out of wedlock, all were likely targets.
Yeah, I found that very compelling. Yeah, Critter Mama says they just held a press conference, changed the name, and they still use the same playbook. Nothing's changed. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, about how these hate groups have had many different names and pretty much the same MO over the years. As white capping spread into the southern states during the 1890s, after Reconstruction, a period of increasing racial violence against blacks by whites, the targets changed. So at some point, when it went more to the South because of the effects after the Civil War and the economic struggles there and the increasing racial tension.
Right. After the Reconstruction would be considered the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah. Can't even call it by its name.
Yeah. Yeah. It went more to a pretty much if you're not white, we've got a problem with you type of group, a hate group, racial hate group.
Well, if you're not white, like us, if you're not white and one of us, and share our same ideology and belief system.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. When it went down there, it shifted more to the racial stuff. But when it started in Indiana, it was really just people judging other people.
It's about power to them.
With regard to the moral standards of the community.
Yeah, law don't go around here, law dog.
Oddly, though, the moral majority of the White Caps were committing crimes. I mean, basically, it's what they were doing. So, as white capping, okay. Oh, I already read that part. White cap societies were generally made up of poor white farmers, frequently sharecroppers, and small landowners who operated to control black laborers and to prevent merchants from acquiring more land. So they didn't want, so we've got, you see what's going on here. You've got poor white farmers and sharecroppers and landowners that have small bits of land who were trying to keep out the black workforce and also prevent merchants from coming into their area. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Sure does to me.
Yep.
Who operate, let's see. In the South, white caps tried to force victims to abandon their home or property. White capping in the South is thought to have been related to the stresses of the Reconstruction era, agricultural depression that occurred immediately after the Civil War. The South had issues with overproduction and falling crop prices, With attention centered on producing cotton, the South's economy became very unbalanced. Many farmers went into debt and lost their lands to merchants through mortgage foreclosures. So that's what happened there. The money they were getting for the crops, not to mention the workforce to harvest those crops, depleted after the Civil War, and we all know why, of course.
Well, I think the northern states stopped buying things from the southern states too, so that's why they had a surplus of.
Well, exactly. Well, not to mention, a lot of things were torn up and not good ways to get there, and
Yeah. Yep.
There were a lot of reasons for all of that. The South was pretty destroyed too after the Civil War in many places. So, and yeah, I mean, just because a war ended doesn't mean tensions stopped either.
That's
so
right.
There was a lot of things going on.
Yep.
But what they didn't want were these freed slaves now being paid laborers and taking their opportunities, and they didn't want merchants coming in and buying up land that had been lost because they couldn't afford their mortgages on the land, coming in and taking it and making businesses. So they would go out and white cap them.
Yep.
The dispossessed turned on merchants. African American laborers, as the time's new white tenants. Racism contributed to the problem as well. Prosperous Black men, or simply African Americans who acquired land in the South, frequently faced resentment that could be expressed violently. White caps were also a part of the effort by whites to maintain white supremacy, particularly in the economy. Mexican Americans were also victims of white capping, particularly in the state of Texas. I'm guessing anybody that wasn't Anglo-Saxon was pretty much a victim. Even if you're Anglo-Saxon and you weren't keeping up with the moral standards, apparently you could be a victim of white caps. So many white cap societies were disbanded by 1894. See, that's the product. White cap societies. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Brotherhoods.
Yep, that's right. They were punished with fines. Let's see, let me move on to the next. Oops. Got something in my way here. Hold on a sec. Oh, get off of there. This thing. Anyway, they would find them. Let's see. I was trying to read that bottom part, but there's a toolbar in my way and I can't get it to quit doing that.
You want me to read it? I can see it.
Yeah, because I can't see it. It's towards the bottom there because I got a toolbar in my way.
Many white cap societies were disbanded by 1894 and their members were punished with fines. Some state governments were determined to disband the white cap societies operating in their regions, while a
segregationist.
Oh yeah, Mississippi Governor James K. Vardaman assembled an executive task force in 1904. Can you see it now?
To gather the information about membership to these societies. Okay. Because he feared that the violence would drive too many Black workers away from the state economy, as the number of lynchings was also high in the state. Active members of the White Caps were found and punished by states in the early 1900s. Though the negative economic effects of white capping violence were the main reason for state responses to the lawlessness, political leaders often expressed values of Christianity as the main reason to end white capping. So they're, basically the churches are saying you're not supposed to be handling things this way. I mean, we have laws in place. I mean, they were trying to end it, even though that, like it said, that governor was a segregationist. He still did not agree with these secret societies, these white cappers.
And then it goes on to talk about.
It goes on. I mean,
yeah, but the bottom part is what I think is the methodology.
Yeah. So, despite the different white capping targets, the white caps used similar methods. Generally, the members of the society were disguised in a way that somewhat resembled that of the Ku Klux Klan, and always attacked at night.
Not during the day, right? At night.
And not on a bridge 70 feet in the air. But anyway.
Broad daylight, yeah.
Okay. Physical attacks could include such things as whipping, drowning, firing shots into houses, arson, and other brutalities, with whipping and threats constituting the majority of the tactics used against victims. The white caps also used intimidation to force certain residents from their homes. These included posting signs on doors of blacks and merchants' homes, as well as cornering a target and verbally threatening them.
And YouTubers.
If a resident...
and YouTubers.
And the SS.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that sound a little, World War II Germany to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this was before that, so if a resident or witness to a crime did not abandon their homes after being terrorized, white caps sometimes murdered them. So if they couldn't threaten you out of the house, then they just kill you and take your stuff.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, kind of does, doesn't it? The victim of these attacks had little support from the legal authorities until 1893, when the threat from white capping began to be taken more seriously. But even if suspects were prosecuted, local officials, now this is important, local officials had difficulty clearing juries of white cap members or sympathizers. In addition to white bias against black victims, part of the white cap oath was to never help convict a fellow member.
Wow. Wow.
That sounds very familiar. Some members of the white caps had elite connections to defense attorneys in their state, who aided them in avoiding harsher sentences in court. In the case of Hodges versus United States, the defendant's attorneys were the lieutenant governor and a candidate running for state prosecutor. Defendants were convicted, but sentenced only to 1 year and a day in prison, along with a $100 fine. The penalty for violating the blood oath of the white caps was death. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In some states, white capping societies were interconnected throughout the region. Members could call on members from another county to terrorize witnesses of crimes as a scare tactic.
Wow, PR campaigning to terrorize witnesses. And
yeah.
Wow.
So I found this very interesting. I mean, this was, so the Ku Klux Klan did not, according to different things that I could look up, they did not actually start making an appearance in Indiana until, it says, after like 1902. I'm not sure that that's accurate exactly. I think they were probably here before that. But this group really interested me because it came around in the 1830s, started in Indiana, where it seems like that seems to be where a lot of this crap starts. Right?
You're kind of cutting out there,
But it started
artist.
as a group, punished them however they saw fit. but they did it. It said right there, they did it kind of like a secret society thing. They had their secrets, and it's kind of the granddaddy of a lot of these other groups that we've come to know today. I just found a lot of the things in there very interesting and very familiar.
Yeah.
Frighteningly so.
Right. Absolutely.
Back to the Amir Green
No, that's fine.
story. I found that story interesting because it's like a lot of the same things that happened, I think, with Richard Allen, but kind of in the reverse. It sounded like that guy needed to be in state prison for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And of course was later removed from there and then murdered.
Sounds like bloodlust to me.
Sure does. But our prison systems have changed quite a bit since the 1800s. Back then, the state prison was run by the state.
Yeah, now they're privatized.
And now they're privatized. I don't know. I found that extremely interesting. It seems to be a lot of very, very familiar things. And so
I think what blew
I
me
wonder
the most out of all of it, though, was like the governor's response.
Right. Right. Back
there
when
was there was no, I'd crawl over shards of hot glass for them. And if you don't like it, get out of the country. There was none of that.
No, here we have a governor calling out an elected official of Carroll County saying you knew very good damn well what was going to happen or what could happen, and you did nothing to prevent this. This is a crime. And everybody that participated in that is, guilty of a crime. How many people did they say were in that lynch mob? 100 and what?
250 people.
Holy crap. That's like the entire town of Delphi at that time, probably. That's a lot of people. Now, I don't know. Now, the only thing that strikes me funny is I don't know how much, I don't know if the reporter was standing there writing everything down and watching everything, or if he embellished a bit or filled in the gaps with the story. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, that's also what I found the most interesting about that article too, was the governor at the time and the response to that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I got to say, until Delphi, like I said before, I grew up in a small town in Indiana, and the local cops, there's some good old boy stuff that goes on. You know what I mean? I always assumed that powers higher than them, agencies bigger than them, would hold smaller agencies accountable for wrongdoing until this case.
Yeah. And now we've got.
And what I've seen is nothing done with people who have
terrorized.
Just terrorized. Disregarded the law. It sounds like a bunch of white collar white cappers.
Yep.
Minus the lynching, so to speak.
They wanted to.
Exactly.
There were a few people that made threats. That
right.
Anthony Greeno being one of the main ones, and he told us about this mentality, that this community has this mentality that we just read about, that they still have it, and he championed it.
Right. So, yes, times have changed. Things have gotten more PC. Um, at least on the surface, things have changed. But I gotta say, how much has changed in a community where a lot of the families are related to the first settlers of the county. Carroll County is Delphi is not super close to any major metropolitan area. I mean, I guess Lafayette, but um, you know what I'm saying? It seems like a lot of families have stayed there throughout the decades,
Hmm.
and I wonder how much of a culture this. I just wonder. There's so many similarities to a lot of these modern day white supremacy groups. But we've said before, I mean, they just, the KKK, they're still around. They don't necessarily, they're not as prevalent as they used to be, but they just reinvent themselves into
Yes.
another group,
Yep.
right?
Yep. That's right. Nothing ever changes. Just is repackaged.
And now what we've learned here is now we've got these groups that they've infiltrated the prison system. Um, very prevalent in the prison system. The groups that Westfall and Holder kind of associated themselves with are on the watch list for the FBI. I mean,
Yep. Domestic terrorism.
and then we put Richard Allen. They put Richard Allen in the solitary confinement in a state prison while he's awaiting trial.
And listen, let's not forget that the tactics of these, some that are involved in the online community as well,
Mm-hmm.
are domestic terrorists.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of terrorism, I think, in this case, in one way or another.
Yeah.
Scary. It's
That,
scary how it's just kind of the same thing, just repackaged. Yeah, we thought that was very interesting. Um, what I found interesting that I mean, yeah, man, I wish a governor would do that now. Where the hell are the authorities in this case
the upstanding law
that
body.
would call? Where are they? I mean, I'm sorry. Every lawyer I've heard pretty much talk about this case is appalled by it. People from other states are appalled by it. People from other countries are appalled by how everything was done, handled, lack of transparency, everything else. Back
Hmm.
then, you apparently had a governor who wasn't afraid to call people out on their crap. Nowadays, we just get silence.
Right.
It blows my mind to this day that that things weren't called out and done with regard to the, in my opinion, blatant disregard for the law in this case.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I just found it very interesting. It just seems like history repeats itself, just in maybe a slightly different format.
Yep. I see it. See a parallel there. Absolutely.
I
So, what
do.
do you say
Yeah.
we address this chat a little bit?
Yeah, what are you guys talking about? Because I couldn't see the screen
Well,
there for a little bit.
there's some question that's come up by Pertinent, and a lot of people have been discussing the post that Rafi made recently.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if I saw Rafi's last post.
Yeah, you saw it.
Um,
We discussed it, I think, yesterday. He
okay, was it?
post he posted that uh well, why don't I pull it up and I'll just read it.
Okay,
That way I
go ahead and just start. I gotta run into the kitchen for just 1 second. I'll be right back.
oh, you're fine. Where is my war lion? Hang on, guys. I'll pull this up. I don't know. Oh my goodness. I feel like an old lady today, guys. Things
Okay, I'm back.
I'm not there yet. I'm still
Are
looking
you still
for
looking? Okay.
his channel. Yeah, I don't see it. Did he close it down again?
Yeah. Hey, Digital, what's going on? Yeah, I saw some people saying that Greeno claimed that he um, was related to Amber Green or what. Yeah, who knows what the who
Okay, well I
knows
can't.
with
Yeah,
him.
Greeno's a liar. I've actually looked for a relation that's still in the area for all of these families involved in this, the
Hmm.
Greens and the Mobbits, and
You know what else I found?
I haven't found a connection to Anthony Greeno at all. Let's just put it that way. But
You know what else I found interesting is that why the story of the girl going off to Texas.
oh yeah,
um, and what I read too is it was because there was an allegation, according to Amber Green, that her parents were abusive and she wanted out of the house, so he helped her escape off to Texas.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
you know, we've we
I,
got
I found this post now.
clothes in the river. We've got, I mean, just a lot of weird little parallels. Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So Raffi said, I went back and I asked only one question. It said yes. She was with child. Then it mentioned who did the autopsy and how it was covered up. This is from the same source that over 6 months before warned Richard Allen had met the McCains that day in February 13th, 2017, at the bridge. You may recall I had it posted at one time. That is when we got the release of the Jerry Holman video interview with Rick Allen, who specifically mentions he had been to the bridge and had worked with Dan McCain on the trails by the bridge. As I said, Richard Allen is innocent of the crime the state claims he is guilty of, but may have been involved in some manner. And to give weight to that, in the interview, Holman actually says, "We're not sure what part you played in this crime, Rick. That means that means they're still walking free. No justice for Abby or Libby or any of the many deaths attributed to the cover up. They killed 4 kids in Flora, then months later killed 2 more. But what about the other kids they killed?" So, what Raffi's referring to here, and he went into a little more detail with someone in the comments that questioned him as to um, how this information, where he got this information. Um, and I'm looking for that part now. But he, um, he's really been into the fact that these people use magic and spell casting, witchcraft, to do what they want to do, to have the results, to manifest, let's use that terminology, their results. So I can't find his other reply on it right now. I'm too distracted. But essentially, he said a long time ago, and I agree with this, if the state could provide some evidence to show Rick Allen's involvement, and it's actual, true evidence, then give the man a fair trial and present the evidence you have. They didn't do that, which leads me to believe that Rick is innocent of all wrongdoing. Now, that being said, I believe some people were out there because they just showed up, and I believe others were out there because they were supposed to show up. They had a part to play. And whether the people knew that they had a part and there was a script, or whether they didn't know, is yet to be determined which is which. So
You
there,
know,
that's
go
the
ahead.
only connection that can be made to Rick Allen is to the McCains. And when he worked at Walmart as a manager, they did community outreach program.
It was like a
And
community cleanup.
and he worked with the Erie Wabash Canal in
Association, which McCain is the head of.
That's correct. So he remembered him from that. He had done some volunteer work.
Right.
Now, I will say this, because Artist found this a while back ago when we were looking into the geocaching stuff. There's an article written in one of the geocache log websites.
Yes.
Yeah. About a gentleman who was out there looking for the cache that is under the bridge that Kelsey tells us about. And as he tells the story, it's written out. Artist has got it somewhere. I'll have her post it on our community page.
Yeah.
But he talks about going out there for the cache.
It's a geocache log. Yeah.
Yeah. And when he gets out there, he comes across two other men who are out there at the Monon High Bridge. And they assume that he is there to meet up with them for some kind of a discussion. And as he approaches them, he says they look like they're waiting for someone, and they think that he's the guy they're waiting on. And he tells them, no, he's there for the geocache. And he talks to him for.
Well, he doesn't tell him that he's there for that. He just.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't want him to know. He's not there for that or something. Anyway, he makes his way down and he finds the cache. He's got pictures on the cache log and everything of where this cache is. You can see the box under the bridge. And he goes on to say, what, Artist?
Well, he just goes on to say that he went ahead and resumed looking for the geocache.
He kind of did it covertly, right? So they couldn't.
Right, because I guess in the geocache world, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to let on that that's what you're doing, even though to me it would be sort of obvious that you're not doing that because, you don't want what they call muggles to come and take the find the geocache and rate it of its contents, I guess.
Right.
It's kind of the idea.
But didn't he allude to the fact that as he was going for the cache and stuff, that the men were still up there talking, and their other
Yeah,
one arrived eventually, and they walked off in
I think
conversation
so.
together.
I think that that's how it was a pretty lengthy, like, because I don't know if you guys know much about geocaching. Um, when you find the cache or you don't, you report whether or not you found it, and then you can leave a description.
Hmm.
And that's what this guy did. And it was pretty lengthy, and I do have it somewhere, and I will find it and I will post it because it was pretty interesting. I found it interesting that there were some guys standing out there waiting on somebody else.
Yeah, it seemed like it was the
And
guys
I
who
don't
take care
know
of the
who
bridge,
those are.
the trails.
That's what it seems like to me.
I would assume it was the
Found that
McCains
I
out
found
there.
that interesting.
Yeah,
I
uh,
would assume.
yeah.
Yeah, I would assume
A-
so.
and as
I don't
far
know who
as
exactly they were waiting on.
yeah, I don't either. But as far as the pregnancy, um, I'll address that real quickly. There were rumors. Um, Little Joe Lewis covered it years ago. Um, that there was a note that was found by Anna Williams. Um, and that it was between Abby and Libby, and that it disclosed that one of the girls was with child, and she went to the Patties with the letter, and we were told that they slammed the door in her face. Now, I don't have any idea if either one of those girls was pregnant. We know we have a post by Cody Patty, very disgusting Facebook post that talks about ejaculating
Mhm.
into a 14-year-old girl and that the baby wasn't his because he only did it once. Um,
Yeah,
and then
rap
his
lyrics to
friend
a song, he
Michael,
said.
yeah, and then his friend Michael coming back and saying, but bro, she's only 14. Um, so I don't know. Um,
Well, the
we can't
one
see
of
an
the
autopsy,
girls
so who
was
knows?
pregnant. Yeah. Well, that's been a pervasive rumor
Yes, it
since the
has.
very beginning of this
And then,
case.
yeah, and then I kind of just put two and two together. And my opinion is if anybody was with child, it was um, probably Kelsey, and it was found out about. There, she did hide out for 10 months after the murders of these girls.
Yeah,
So
which is kind of a suspicious amount of time,
it is.
especially when you're talking about a possible pregnancy.
Yeah. So
Um,
we don't know because we
yeah,
don't
I
have
wonder
an
about that.
autopsy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know even if we had the report sitting in our hands if I would believe everything that it said. Um,
So I think
yeah,
kind of what Raffy
pretty
did
suspicious.
is he is using the same concepts I think that they are using in their rituals in an as above so below manner, because of the study that he's done into how they um, some of the practices of especially like um, is it David McCain, or I think it's David, maybe Dan, I don't know, one of the McCain brothers is into mysticism, kundalini, which is sex magic. Um, there's this thing that they do where when they become sexually aroused, they um, I know this is going to sound gross, but this is what they do. They will masturbate or they will have sex, and when they get to the point that they're going to achieve orgasm, Rather than spill their seed, they hold it in, and the gist of it is that this causes the rising from the below to the up throughout the chakras, and from the sacrum to the brain. It's the ascension, it's the rising. And this is how they use this sex magic to manifest their ideals. In other words, they are equating themselves to the level of a god when they reach this upper level. So Raffi's belief system is as above, so below. When these individuals operate on a lower frequency of the earth and they're not in the higher realm frequency, that they slip and they tell on themselves, and they essentially it's compromat, but it's in a way that's not even necessarily consciously done by the individual. It's controlled by the vibration of the frequency that they're operating in at that moment. And so he's kind of taken the same ideals that they use, but from a white magic perspective, I believe, instead of a black magic perspective, and tried to unravel what has been done to get to the answers. And I believe that's kind of the system he's using. So
Pertinent has a good point here. Yeah, I wondered this too, Pertinent, honestly. Pertinent says, my point about the autopsy, why transport over 130 miles to Terre Haute instead of 74 to Indianapolis? Yeah, I've wondered that too.
Well, you want my opinion on that?
Yeah.
You want Vigo County, Terre Haute, is in bed with Carroll County and Cass County and Tippecanoe County and Howard County and White County. All of these counties operate together. And that's where they had the person that they paid off to do the autopsy. Their guy wasn't in Indianapolis. He was in Terre Haute.
That's the case, then makes a little more sense when it comes back to what happened with Greg Ferenczi, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Since he's sitting there in the FBI office in Vigo County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've wondered that too. I've wondered that too, Pertinent. That made no me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was listening, watching a lot. I've been watching a lot of True Crime Design over the last week. I have been for the last few weeks. Like I said before, guys, I know most of you guys know who that is. If you're not familiar, go familiarize yourself. And even if you are familiar, go watch that stuff again. Some excellent points in there.
Yeah,
and we've talked a lot about.
Post a link to her channel. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Post that up there. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about what?
Yeah. So, well, we've talked a lot about Ground Zero, meaning the Patty's house, basically. And the fact that one of the very few solid pieces of evidence with regard to who may be involved in this crime was wrapped around Abby's finger.
Indeed.
And how all of that was disregarded. I mean, it was really just brushed over, wasn't even looked into until pretty much the time of trial. I don't know. Got a lot. We've always said about, I mean, I'm not going to pull any punches here. That's been my suspicion from the beginning. I've wavered a little bit here and there, but it always leads right back to there, right
Every
back to
tentacle.
that, right back. Like
Every tentacle they
every
tell
single
us to
thing.
look at leads right back to the family. And they named him the family for a reason, because there are actually two families, more than two families, that are victims of these atrocities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also heard something interesting. True Crime Design played a clip in one of her videos. And it was the interview with Kelsey while she's driving her car. Do you know what I'm talking about, New Day?
Yes, I do. Yep. With Susan Hendricks in the front seat.
And with Susan Hendricks in the front seat,
Mm-hmm.
who has some rather odd looks on her face at times, but while she's listening to Kelsey explain about the day that, that the supposed abduction and subsequent murder occurred. Actually, it wasn't that one. It was, yes, that one's an interesting one too, because there was another clip she showed where she was doing an interview with Gray Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of the ones where her husband is standing behind her, that one.
Yeah, that
and
would have
he
been
starts.
one of the last ones she did, I think.
Yes. Well, he brings up the mention of all the kids that were on the trail. You know how Kelsey said there were like, I don't know, 10 to, depending on what day it is, right? 10 to 40 people out there, depending.
Right.
I've heard so many different numbers of kids that were supposedly out there. And he's asking her about that. And she says something to the effect, well, there were several people out there, and she basically alludes to the fact that she saw these people.
Well, she did at first allude to that she saw them, but then in this interview, she alluded to she just knew they were going to be there.
Yeah, she just knew they were there.
Yeah, she didn't actually see them.
But in the beginning, she said, right. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So at one point, that you saw there, but your story's always been that you dropped them off, you talked to your boyfriend on the phone, you didn't get out of the car, you didn't walk on the trail. How would you have seen all these people, right? How would you have seen them all?
Well, yeah,
it's
now
case
by case inquester are saying that she didn't even pull into Mir's lot. She stopped on the road and let him
out. But here's my point too. How in the hell do we know that she was driving that car?
We don't.
If the 13th was a staging of an abduction, the beginning of the staging of the abduction.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We don't know who's driving that car. We don't see anyone get out of the freaking car.
Just like we don't know who's operating the devices, we don't know who's operating the vehicles either.
We don't. And just one more reason why I just don't, I do not buy for one freaking minute that these law enforcement officers weren't listening to this shit in the beginning and going, wait a minute here. Obviously, more than once about her story. So I'm not buying that these other law enforcement officers weren't getting the wait a minute, that doesn't sound right vibes, right?
Well, we know she was interrogated 7 times.
7 times. 7
7
times.
times. 7 times.
Gave DNA 3 times.
Yes.
And was interrogated 7 times.
Mostly by FBI, I believe.
Yeah, well, that's what she pretty much made it sound like.
Yes, she talks about the agents and even what they look like.
Yes. And so, oh, God. Like we said before, house wasn't searched. They allowed her to go through the devices. She deleted shit off of there. Then we get control of the cloud, right? Becky got control of the cloud.
Sure did.
Through a court order signed by Judge Shane Evans.
Yep.
See, that's my concern. I want to know what actually happened. I don't see how anybody can look at this and look at the movements of that family and not say, oh shit, we're never going to have what happened here. Because it seems to me like the opportunity to divert attention away from that family was given from the get-go. And I want to know why. Something happened in that damn bedroom. I can't say it enough. Every time I see purple paint, I want to scream because it reminds me of that creepy ass story about that bedroom.
Staging. There's just staging everywhere.
Everything was staged. The story, that room, everything. I want, that thing doesn't make sense. The whole thing, I can't even with it. You know what I mean? Good God. Proper investigation never done.
Yeah. No, it was really interesting.
So obviously blatant.
I was looking at
go ahead.
A video today. It's titled "The Elephant in the Room," and Captain Howdy did it a few years ago, and I posted it on I think on my community page on It's in Your Days channel. But I found it very interesting that he was talking about, essentially, what about the Dropbox? Here we are, and what about the Dropbox? This was done, I believe, in 2023. It was after Alan's arrest, and he talks about when they arrested Rick and they sealed the probable cause affidavit. McClellan is quoted as saying, "We believe there are other actors," and they didn't charge Rick initially with first-degree murder on both of them. They charged him with kidnapping, and they told us there were others. And then he goes on to say, and we waited for other arrests, and none ever came. And then it just evolved into this lone wolf killer.
Yeah. Yeah. Which defies logic if you go along with the narrative of that story. Right?
Yeah.
It goes against
he talks about that.
Every FBI profiler I've ever heard talk about a killer. Yeah.
Yeah. And he talks about what are the odds that a catfish account that was talking to one of the victims on the very day that she went missing and was supposedly murdered. And yet another person just happens to show up out there and take these girls,
Mm-hmm.
abduct these girls and take their lives. What are the odds of that happening?
Well, what are the odds of someone without any history of violence in their past going out and deciding to abduct and murder 2 girls? It defies logic completely, right? Why would you look? Everything I've ever heard an FBI profiler say, this is another thing that's always bothered me. If that's a single killer out there lying in wait for an opportunity, right? They have to be in control of the environment, right? They have to be comfortable in the environment. They have to know the environment well, this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard many FBI profilers or many law enforcement, FBI profilers, FBI in general say that, controlling a crime, how are you going to controlling a crime scene out in open woods like that in those conditions?
Well, the way you control it is you contaminate it. That's the only control you can have over it.
I mean, you've got a flooded creek, you've got mud, you've got unpredictable February Indiana weather. You know what I mean? You've got all of those factors.
With all of that law enforcement and 200 community members at a minimum the first night searching.
Right.
And
I'm saying,
Riley told us there were cigarette butts, there was urine, there was spit, there was.
Right. But then you have this bullshit theory about how, okay, this is what doesn't make sense. He's got this plan. He lies in wait. He abducts him, tells him to go down the hill, gets him over into the wooded area, and then sees Brad Weber's white van and then gets spooked and makes the move. So now we've got...
Yeah, but then hangs out for another, 90 minutes?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
And we know
but
that
manages not to leave one bit of his own DNA.
Listen, we know for a fact that the killers and the stagers of these girls hung around those bodies and staged them, and they were with them for an extended period of time. And the reason we know that is because that's one of the very things that led Detective Coy Cox from the Stevenson's murders to look into how it might be related to the perpetrator of the Delphi murders.
Right, because there was supposedly they said in the Stevenson murder that the killer spent a decent amount of time staging that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't my whole thing is, at the point where you decide you got to, according to the state's narrative, he got spooked by the van and decided right then and there he had to kill them. So then it became a frenzied thing, right? Now you're panicking, and you're not going to leave one bit of DNA anywhere. I don't see that being possible. Period. But yet we've got the last person to see them alive, other than the killer, supposedly, or killers. We've got the last person to see them alive. Her DNA is found wrapped around Abby's finger. And I thought Case by Case had a very good point too. How did DNA from unknown males, as they say, get placed on private areas of the girls from a washing machine, but yet none of the female DNA from the rest of the household landed on those girls in those areas? I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm guessing that DNA doesn't just choose certain areas to attach itself to from a washing machine.
Right.
Just guessing.
Yep. And if it does, who else's laundry was she doing?
Right. Unknown males, I guess. Just, you just throw the door open and allow anybody to come in and wash their shit in your washing machine, I guess. That's the logic of that, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, which just that makes it even more infuriating that a proper investigation, Cop 101, starting with the inside, the people that know them the closest, right? Especially the last person to see them alive, who dropped them supposedly off at the trail. But we don't start with her. Oh no. No, we don't dump her phone. We don't search the house. We don't search her car. Everything always leads back there. Every time. Every crazy thing, every tentacle curls up and points right back to that family and that bullshit story. Every time. In my opinion.
I share that opinion with you.
Oh my goodness gracious. I swear.
So, anybody got anything that they want to talk about real quick before we get out of here tonight? Yeah. I don't believe Rick's guilty. I don't. But again, if I want to see some real evidence, not some made up bullshit, not some altered digital evidence.
I'm sorry.
I want to see some real evidence. Is there any even left?
I do too. I'm tired of hearing people talk about that shit like there's any. You could see it with your plain eye. That picture in the back of the car, that selfie picture with Abby in the back seat.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it, guys.
It's disturbing.
I mean, I don't think I have to tell anybody in this chat what I'm talking about, but look at it. Shit's not right. Never has been right. I would bet $1 million that that's not correct. That's not a real piece. That's not a real photograph. It's been photoshopped. It's been altered. It's all been altered. I don't know. I'm with Adrian's asked us a million times. Where's the proof of life? Where's the actual proof of life on any of these girls? Because all we have is that they were. Does anybody ever notice too that the only people that saw any of these girls on that entire weekend were all family members?
Yep.
There's no outside.
I know they were. I believe they were seen Friday night at the basketball
from school
game.
That saw them. There's nothing.
But after Friday night at the basketball game, it's all just family.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out on me a little bit. What'd you say?
I said, as far as I know, the last that they were seen besides anyone but family was Friday night at the basketball game.
Right. But then we have all of Saturday, and we have 4 very suspicious geocache logs. We have 3 different family members who all claim to have picked Abby up. Right?
Yep.
We have 3 to 4 different locations of a what am I trying to say? Playing softball story, right? We have 4 different locations for that. We have 3 different people picking her up. We have 4 different locations for the softball game, playing the softball. Where the hell is the ball, the bat, the gloves, all the shit that was bought? I mean, where's that stuff, right? Where is that stuff? Then we have Abby clearly in a t-shirt in the hotel room with the new ball glove. More in like the t-shirt like we heard Anna describe. So she's going to change out of that to go put on a dressier shirt to go catch ball with Grandpa. What the hell? None of this makes sense.
But clothes were washed, but the same outfit is 2 days in a row. What the hell is going on here?
Who in the hell says, oh, wait, Grandpa, let me change my shirt into my dressier shirt. Let me change out of the t-shirt I'm wearing. Let me put on the dressier shirt to go catch a softball in. Who does that? Nobody. Ever. You know what I mean? Nobody. It makes no sense. Nothing makes sense.
It doesn't.
And what I want to know is why some of this stuff was never called out in that trial. What in the hell?
Yeah, it bothers me.
It bothers me because it makes me wonder about motives and things, you know, what was going on there?
Well, even down to the defense itself. Why weren't
That's what I'm saying. If I were a defense attorney,
why weren't certain
if I were a
people
defense
perjured?
attorney and in a trial, right? If I were a defense attorney and in a trial, I heard 3 different people claim to pick up a girl who wound up being dead, I would want to know why in the hell that was. I believe I would call every single one of them back and ask them again, are you sure that you picked her up?
Yeah.
Would it be surprising to you if, you know, Anna said she picked him up, or would it be surprised? You know what I mean? I have the questions I would ask.
Yep.
I don't understand it. It makes me think other thoughts that I honestly am not, I don't want to have to think. You know what I mean? I hope you guys know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Bothers me big time. Really, truly does. I hate to think that people would just throw a case completely and send an innocent man to prison. The least likely suspect got thrown in jail for prison for 130 years. No DNA there, no contact with those girls, no contact with any of the other characters involved. Not that anybody has found.
No murder weapon produced.
No murder weapon produced. Yeah, that's another thing, right? So all the knives that Rick Allen had that they took photographs of, right? When they searched the house, all those things, couple box cutters included. And I'm talking cheap box cutters, guys. Not the nice ones with the gold blade, you know, like I have, but you know, just the cheap ones, the ones that snap off. All those knives and box cutters and whatnots, or all those, you know, bigger knives, right? There were some pretty good sized knives in those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to take a box cutter but he'd gone to his mom's before going out to the trail. He's not working. Why would you have a box cutter on you to go visit your mom? And why would that be your weapon of choice with all those other? It doesn't make sense. That has never made sense.
It's stupid. It's
right.
stupid. It is stupid. And you know, all that stuff got leaked too. They set all of those things into motion long before Alan ever went to trial.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of that stuff was
Mm-hmm.
leaked to Anthony Greeno early on. He is the person that talked about the carpet being taken out of the trunk of Rick's car, and there
Yes.
was DNA on it, and it was up underneath the spare tire, and bullshit.
Which none of that
there
is
wasn't
true.
any DNA on it. They did take carpet. We know that Greeno got leaked that freaking information of what they were doing because he shared it with us. He told us also about the motorcycle cover with the tread mark on it that was in Weber's garage.
Yeah. Then we got Sticks in Weber's garage.
Yeah, all leaked by the prosecution, Gizmo. That's right. But Doug Carter wants to stand up there and tell us that, you know, they stood by that gag order. Whatever. Fucking liars.
I just, you know, then we've got Becky Patty finally cleaning out Libby's room, making a big, you know, to do about that and talking about getting rid of all the socks and finally getting that put away. Then the next week we're doing a river search. And the week after that, we're interrogating the shit out of Keegan Kline. Which tells me that information, all this retrofitting is because they were getting told what was going to happen in advance. So many times the story changed because something was about to come out that was going to be in conflict with what had already been said.
But by the family. Always
by the family.
By the family.
Always.
So, anyway.
I don't think you have to be an investigative genius to see. Yeah, I'm angry. Can you tell?
Yeah, I can.
It makes me angry when I think about it. When I really sit and think about all of it, it pisses me off so bad. Because I feel like a lot of other people have paid for this bullshit. With their lives, their reputations, not just Abby and Libby. You know, I've already said that I believe Flora is connected.
Flora? Yes.
You just got a lot of dirty shit going on and a lot of people making crap up. What did I say?
You said it.
I meant Flora.
No, you said Flora.
But anyway.
You said Flora. I just.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's all
connected. You kind of cut out, so I wanted to make sure that's what
you had me thinking I said something else.
Nah, you're good, girl.
Oh, gotcha.
Just confirm.
It makes me, you know, yeah, it makes me incredibly angry.
Yep. I mean, we look at drugs, right? Drug trafficking, drug manufacturing leads back to the family.
Yeah.
We look at swingers lifestyle, wife swapping, leads back to the family. We look at CPS, foster care, family court system, also the family. What else?
Flora. We look at Flora.
Flora. That's right.
We
The
we have
family.
a very, very suspicious assessment of a value of a house by a
Yep.
family member.
Yep.
It just all leads back there. You know, and the fact that we're supposed to not look at it, not ask questions, not, and then get, totally gaslit by everyone
Right.
for years. If you ask a question or if you question something they said, what murder case ever are the families not questioned?
This one. Oh. Well, listen, guys.
That's where you start. That's where you start.
It's where you start, and that's where they should finish. And that's where I think it will finish.
Yep.
Just got to keep putting the
That's
pressure
why we
on.
will always talk about day one.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll always talk about day one.
Yep, that unseasonably
You know?
warm day. That wasn't day one.
Oh yeah, unseasonably.
Let's go back to the phone.
Yeah, that wasn't that warm. Oh my God. Yep. I mean, I hope you guys don't ever get tired of hearing us harp on the weekend of the 4th. But that's when the very suspicious movement, at least that we know of, that's the first instance of a very suspicious movement. And then a 4-day weekend coming up, something happened in that bedroom, and people have lied and lied and lied and lied over the years, for years and years.
Phone data doesn't add up. Digital evidence doesn't add up. Timeline doesn't add up.
Yeah, the phone data. Absolutely.
Who was there and who saw what? That doesn't add up.
Believable proof of life. Yeah. We have exhibits in the trial. Of course we do. I don't believe a damn one of them, except for that hair wrapped around Abby's finger. That I believe.
Yeah. But let's not test it until we're made to at pretrial.
No, that 1 in 8 point some odd trillion that that's how much of a match it is to Kelsey.
Yeah, spit it out. That's right.
Yeah, think about that. Think about that.
Yep, still lying, Mustang. That's right. They're still lying.
I mean, those odds there are pretty astounding. And that shit did not get wrapped around her finger from a sweatshirt coming out of a washing machine. Did not happen.
It's crazy.
Anyway, that's my rant for the evening.
It was great. Thanks for a great show, artist. Thanks for all your hard work.
Well, I tried.
For your diligence, your heart, and for never giving up. We're going to keep on going, guys. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's good to see you guys.
We're going to...
We love you, Adrian.
Oh, yeah, we love you, Adrian. We love all you guys. You guys are so great. And you guys, I love reading the chat because there's always so much. You guys are just awesome at talking this stuff out, you know. I'm glad we're not the only ones that see the weirdness in this case.
Yeah. I love the dialogue of this community. I just absolutely love it.
Too. I do too. You
guys are brilliant, each and every one of you.
We're going to be doing part 3 of the Silenced Professionals.
Yeah, I wanted to apologize to everybody. I know the last couple weeks we've told people we'd be going live again on like Wednesday usually, and that's our plan. I've had some struggles though the last couple of weeks with some things that are a little more pertinent than this. My dad's in the last days of his life right now. He's being cared for at one of my siblings' homes nearby, and he's been in hospice care for about a month now, and
Yeah.
he's not doing well. So it's been a struggle. Two of my siblings have done most of the care, and I've been going out a couple times a week and assisting a little bit here and there to try to give them some breaks and let them, be able to breathe a little bit, take a shower. It's it's been really hard. So I apologize that we told you we were going to go live and we didn't. It may be you don't see us again till next Saturday night. We definitely will be doing Saturday nights. So hopefully we'll get together again the middle of this week. But if not, just keep me and my family
Well, we
in your
won't see you
thoughts.
next Saturday because it's the 4th.
Oh,
So yeah,
we're not
next
doing
Saturday actually will
fireworks
be
on
the
the
4th,
4th?
so we won't.
Okay. All right.
Well, we we might be the only two in here.
That's all right. That's all right. They can catch it on the replay. Maybe we'll go a little bit earlier
Maybe
or
we'll
something.
shoot. Yeah, maybe we'll shoot for. I mean, we will try to go live again this week, sometime this week. And if we
Yeah.
don't do the 4th, maybe we'll do the 5th. Maybe we'll do a Sunday. We've done a Sunday before.
Oh yeah, that could be
Do
cool.
a Sunday. Yeah, next one will be the third part of the Silenced Professionals, and of course we will be talking about Sergeant Stephanie Thompson. And I will try not to get emotional because I always do when I talk about Stephanie and Maya.
Yeah, and
I will try.
yeah, we are doing this in a 3-part series, and we are highlighting those 3 officers specifically. But rest assured that we keep everyone in mind that
Oh yeah.
has lost their lives, their livelihood, and been terrorized by some of the bad actors involved in this case. So we know there's more than just Click, Ferency, and Stephanie that have been targeted, silenced. So though we are highlighting those 3 individuals in this 3-part series, we know there are handfuls of others. So I don't want to not recognize everyone. This case has torn a lot of lives apart and ended a lot of lives. So with that, I guess we'll see y'all sometime this next week. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Old Mark, good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gizmo.
Yeah, we love you. We love you guys. Yeah, I think O'Hay was in here too.
Yeah, O'Hay, Christina.
Oh hey, yep. There's hey, Christina.
Oh hey. Duck and Felonies.
You've got Dun Laura. Ah, nice to have you.
Welcome.
Duck and Felonies.
Yeah. You guys that just
everybody
came
can
in,
check out what Duck and Felonies has put up with regard to that audio. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of good people in here. Check out a lot of their channels. Everybody pretty much has something going on. I love it. Thanks to our main mod.
This is how we do it, guys.
Adrian, Trial Junkie, Critter Mama, Digital, Nancy Drew, Smoky Mountain Robin. Thank you guys. Nicole Watt, Sweet Southern. Monday, good to see you, Monday. Love your channel. Love what you've been doing. Keep it up. I think we had Mustang in here. Pertinent. Matt Payton. Gizmo.
Mother of Dragons is in here.
Oh yeah, Mother of Dragons. Good to see you.
Well,
Critter
thank you
Mama,
guys
I'd already
for
say that. Pertinent. If I missed anybody, love you guys. Thank you so much. Low light
thank you.
recovery.
Oh, and low light. Yeah. Thank you guys for keep Greg Ferenczi in your thoughts this week, and Todd Click as well. And of course, thank you for keeping New Day's father in your thoughts and your prayers too.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Yep, kind of a rough time there. So she appreciates that. I know she does very much. And we love you guys, and we will try to get back in here before the 4th. And like I said, we won't be going live on the 4th. We might go live on the 5th. If we don't go, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we love you guys. Have a great night.
Watch for the notification.
Happy Saturday.
Yep. And if you can't find a good person, be a good person.
And don't be a Holman. Good night, everyone.
Peace out. Thanks, artist.
Thank you.